What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen the titles going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. You have Ilhan Omar. This right here, this is a clip. Obviously, you know, that most of us have seen. But I want y'all to see. I kind of base this off of a timeline of what Ilhan Omar is actually in for. You know, and what she's put herself in, and now she can't get out of it. Check it out.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people, because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again? These
Ridiculous. I'll tell you that. Ridiculous. And literally, you sit here and you call Americans stupid. One thing, I feel like I always say this. I feel like you just repeat yourself 24/7. That's truly how do you sit there and support somebody that literally calls you stupid and literally just, I truly don't get that. Don't care about you nothing. Truly don't care about you nothing. They call you stupid, they play in your face, they say this, they do this, they don't care about you whatsoever. I mean, look what they doing. Look what they doing to people now. I'm telling y'all. Before we get into this, though, within Ilhan Omar, this woman is going to basically let y'all know more about Ilhan Omar or where she came from. And I seen this video and found it quite interesting. Check it out.
Let's talk about the real Ilhan Omar. See, she was born in Mogadishu, Somalia in 1982, but she wasn't a feed the children Somalian. No, she was part of the privileged elite. See, her father served as a colonel in the Somalian National Army during the rule of Siad Barre, the military dictatorship in which human rights organizations have documented severe abuses, including mass killings, torture, and widespread destruction of civilian infrastructure. Civilian deaths estimated as high as 200,000 people. But that's not all. When the regime fell and Somalia descended into civil war, her family fled. They spent years in a refugee camp in Kenya before they were granted asylum into the United States. Later, she became a naturalized citizen. Fast forward, in the United States, she aligned herself with the Justice Democrats, the same political action committee that held casting calls to find AOC and Rashida Tlaib. And they aligned perfectly with the ideology she grew up with in Somalia and promotes today in Minnesota. See, the sweeping structural reform and expanded government authority in areas like policing, economics, and foreign policy. Some may even say that the turmoil and chaos in her city looks a lot like the beginnings of a civil war. Isn't it funny how people's worldview is shaped by their early environment? The question is this what we need in America right now? Let's talk about...
So, as y'all see, and this the last thing she said, I want to play it again.
The question is this what we need in America right now?
No. I'm telling y'all. No. Not no Ilhan no more. We cover Zoran Monda. No. Y'all see what's going on. Y'all truly see, and I ain't even about to bring this as a rape. I can, well, in a way. And I say in a way because it's like, they're trying to change America. You know what I mean? They're trying to change America to the country that they fled from. Y'all follow me what I'm saying? So, y'all know what I mean? I'm just being 100 with y'all. Like, I can see, honestly, like bringing and just showing your culture and this, that, and the other. No, it's like a complete change on top of all the fraud and the BS that's going on. No, bro, we don't need that. I know I don't. I don't know about y'all, but I don't. I'm telling y'all. You got it right here. Ilhan Omar promoted Feed Our Future. Ilhan Omar volunteered. And I want to go back to this. I want to make sure. Feed Our Future defendant Abdul. Before I say what I want to say, to make it make sense. Feed Our Future defendant Abdul Abubakar Ali, I probably said that completely wrong, was served 1 year and 1 day in prison for his role in the 250 million fraud scheme. I'm going to say that again. This man will serve 1 year, 1 day in prison for his role in a $250 million fraud scheme. Bro, if that's me, bro, I promise you, I probably wouldn't even smell no. I probably wouldn't even smell no fresh air no more. They would have put me in prison and threw away the key. This man got 1 year and 1 day, mind you. And this is where it begins to, like, it kind of scares you, because if they giving this man 1 year and 1 day, and Ilhan Omar promoted Feed Our Future, she volunteered at Feed Our Future. She got donations from Feed Our Future, and one of the heads that was convicted of the $250 million in fraud. Read that again, $250 million. Jason Robertson, by the way, that posted this. Y'all can go check this out for yourself. He gets a year in jail. Said 1 year, like 365 days. Somebody said so he said that's less than a 3rd degree assault and 5th degree drug possession, which would be hitting someone or hurting them or having literally a little bag of drugs. I'll tell y'all, it's completely crazy. Check it out.
Ilhan Omar, you really up now, didn't you? If y'all haven't heard about this by now, let me be the first to tell you. So allegedly, the Republic of Somaliland is calling to have Ilhan Omar extradited for her crimes that she committed here in the United States. The nation's official X account responded to Vance's allegations, writing, "Deportation? Please. You're just sending the princess back to her kingdom. Extradition? Say the word." You see, Miss Ma'am, that's what happens when you play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my personal opinion of what I think should happen, right? Make her serve out her prison term here in the United States for however long that would be. And then absolutely extradite her back to Africa. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure that the punishment in Africa is a lot harsher than what it is here in the United States. Mm-hmm. But that's not my problem. This is what happens when you frown, because now she's about to be in that find out stage.
It's not a bad idea. It's truly not a bad idea. Serving out a prison sentence here and going back to Africa. Truly, I feel like it's pretty well. Even if, and I'll be 100 with you, even if she doesn't, if they don't even put her in the cell, they don't do nothing, do this, do that, whatever, completely fine. You know, I feel like people would definitely be happy that she served a prison term here and literally got deported to Africa. Because one thing about it, she wouldn't be in the United States. So I feel like it's pretty much a win-win, if I'm not going to lie. Says Alpha News senior reporter Liz Collin reacts to Vice President J.D. Vance saying Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud, which a lot of people are saying. Not only that, you have J.D. Vance, you know, President Trump just started that task force, that fraud task force, and literally saying, you know, Ilhan Omar is definitely in deep trouble.
Look, there's no statute of limitations on committing fraud in the immigration process, especially in the naturalization process, which, of course, she is a citizen to become a member of the House of Representatives. So certainly there's ways to get at things.
So they just got to pull that. They got to find that file, pull it, and prove it, I guess. Liz, Tim Walz, who looked the other way in your state as the Somali community robbed our country blind, pulling billions of federal dollars through the state of Minnesota to themselves. Here he was on Saturday.
A special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grand...
Bro is literally telling on himself. If you literally supporting and back, and I'm telling y'all, and you see, and the thing is, I could honestly see if nobody was getting in trouble. I could honestly see that. They're getting in trouble for this. Business is shut down, getting put in prison.
Children will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history.
Dustbin of history.
What's your reaction to that? And to the people of Minnesota, how do you think they would react to that? Obviously, his political career is over, but he's still defending this thing that he allowed.
It never ends with our governor in Minnesota, that's for sure, Rob. And I will say this file on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is quite thick at this point. I was just going to interject with more allegations that have been made against her about the fact that she perhaps is not a U.S. citizen at all. This is because she claimed that she naturalized through her father. We've done extensive reporting on this at the time she was 17. However, magically, once these allegations came to light, her birth date changed because it turns out she was actually 18, therefore not eligible to naturalize through her father and apply for citizenship at that period. There was someone running against her years ago that brought this forward, and it was 2 days after a social media post basically showing how she was claiming that it's not possible for her to be a U.S. citizen under this current birth date she was giving as a House representative at the time.
I don't know why this is skipping. I apologize for skipping on y'all end.
So you could see in just the course of 2 days how her websites all changed, and those screenshots still exist to this day. So there are many questions that remain unanswered about the fact that perhaps she's not even a U.S. citizen at all.
Gene, your reaction to that, and how does that change your calculus?
Well, look, what my reaction to all of this is just to emphasize the importance of vetting and screening on the front end. This is why you don't bring in people into the United States, because of the paperwork that you don't know who they are, because the paperwork can be all over the place. People can lie. They can lie about when they were born, who their parents were, who their family was. And of course, things have improved since she came in the 90s. There is a certain amount of genetic testing that goes into things now that didn't used to be available then. But it just goes to show you why it's so important to vet, to screen, to stop people coming in on the front end, because you could be dealing with avowed Marxists 2 decades, 3 decades later, who you let in, who were lying about who they were, and you're stuck with them for at least some lengthy period of time.
There you go. One thing about it, I truly feel like it's kind of that 50-50. I feel like it's truly kind of that 50-50 to where you don't know what's going to happen, to where it's either because, and I feel like now I would say based off of JD Vance and like everybody speaking on that, I look at the simple fact like, and this is before this, what I'm going to say. It's a good chance that she'll go, in prison, and be in prison for a while. But then again, when you have an individual that actually did this, that feed in our future, $250 million, and he gets 1 year, it's kind of like, bro, like we don't know. We truly don't know. This right here is Victor Davis Hanson saying Ilhan Omar just needs to prove that she did not marry her brother. I'm telling y'all, it's and the crazy thing, it's not just one thing with Ilhan Omar. You got the marrying her brother. You have the fraud when it comes down to everyone around her, really. When it comes down to the Somalian neighbors, when it comes down to her husband, it's just a lot. It's so much to where if we know it, it has to be more to it.
One more JD Vance thing
that we don't know.
He called out Ilhan Omar for marrying her brother.
Now that was, I think that was long overdue. I'm so glad he did that, because I went through, when he said that, I saw it on a site, in the news site. So I just went through and I just Googled Ilhan Omar marry her brother, evidence, things like that. And she has never once said, I categorically deny that I was ever legally married to my full brother. She's never said that. She said, you're a racist, you're a nativist, you're lying, it's not true. And then from what her surrogates are trying to say is the person that she married, they're trying to say is not her brother. that he had a different name or he came in the family. Why doesn't she just do this? She said, I resent what you said, Vice President Vance, and I want to show you that the man that I was married to, we all know, she can't say she was married to somebody legal. There's a legal record, and there is a record. It'd be very hard for that person. We have facial identification. We have all sorts of, we know who she was married to for a number of years. She lived with him when she was a student. All you have to do is say, by testimony, by facial recognition, picture, you were married to this person. We just want you to have a DNA of him and a DNA of you. That's all we're asking. And I would have said that instead of she married. I would have said, that's why I'm not vice president, obviously. But I would have said, there are a lot of speculation and rumor swirling around our Representative Ilhan Omar. I think it would be in her interest, and especially our interest, in enforcing U.S. immigration law. If you just become candid and say, this is the person that I was married to, and he and I, in a public event, will both take a blood test and take DNA, and you can dispel this nonsense forever. And when it shows you that we are not blood related, I'm going to sue for libel all the people who made those scurrilous charges.
She's not going to do that, though.
She has to do.
She ain't going to do that.
But she's getting more and more strident. And, in her reaction, she's almost hysterical. And it suggests to me that she knows that she committed a felony by engaging in immigration fraud. If that's true, and you look at the statute, she can face severe punishment or deportation. You know what I mean?
But the thing is I feel like she's not going to do that just based off of she knows she's in the wrong. They're already doing as much as they can of pushing and bashing President Trump and the Trump administration because they know they're wrong of what they've been doing. I'm telling y'all. Says Ilhan Omar is being investigated over reports she and her husband enriched themselves through a Somali fraud. So not only that, she's definitely doing too much, and everything has caught up with her, basically, I should say.
There are reports that members of Congress are actually receiving daycare and healthcare clinic money funneled through various PACs. If this is true and widespread, how can the American people trust Congress to task and uncover the far-reaching tentacles of this fraud?
Any member of Congress that's getting any money unethically or illegally, there's an ethics committee, and it's a bipartisan. It's an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, and that's the committee that's supposed to investigate members of Congress. The ethics committee was created. We have in our rules that we're not supposed to investigate other members, but the ethics committee has a staff, and that is their sole purpose for existence in life. And I think the House Ethics Committee traditionally has been a lot harder on unethical behavior than the Senate Ethics Committee. That's my opinion. But anybody that has information on a member of Congress, bring that to the Ethics Committee and they'll investigate it. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. We need to hold them accountable.
What about Ilhan Omar?
Well, I mean, she's at the top of the suspect list in that, so we'll see.
Thank you.
But I can tell you, my members, there are going to be ethics complaints filed against Omar. She had an opportunity to come in here today.
Yeah, she was actually right across the hall at the Black Caucus lunch.
If there was anything about Kentucky, I would have been there, and I think that's the way it is with most members, especially the Somali. This is a hearing about Somali fraud. There have been countless reports that her husband has profited in some way, and she in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if that's true or not, but she could have had an opportunity to come in here and defend herself. So hopefully you all may knock on her door and ask her some questions, and we'll see what she has to say.
She ain't say anything. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. She's not gonna say anything because she knows she's in the wrong. One thing about it, this is a post by President Trump. It was actually posted yesterday, but like this post said, President Trump says it perfectly. I'm telling y'all, check out what President Trump said.
How about in Minnesota? They come from Somalia, but they come from all over. They're all crooked in Minnesota. The governor's crooked. The attorney general's a crook. He's a thief. Terrible guy. All stupid, crooked people. And they came in from, in this case, Somalia is just terrible. A lot of people say it's the worst country anywhere in the world. They have no money, no nothing. They have no government. They have no police. They just shoot each other all day long. It's just pure bedlam. Probably the worst, most dangerous country. We have some beauties. They go to Minnesota, And they stole $19 billion. $19 billion. And they're low IQ. Generally, I mean, I can generalize. They're low IQ people. They're bad people. They have 94% unemployment. In other words, they don't want to work. You know, get a lot of jobs available, right, with the economy. They don't want to work. Why would they work? And they sold more Mercedes-Benzes than any state in the union because they come here with no money, and they go out. They love a Mercedes-Benz, and they go out and buy Mercedes-Benzes. And I think you're going to get to the bottom of it real easy. And every one of them should be. And Ilhan Omar, who married her husband, married her brother became her husband. When she has to check a book, she says, any brothers? One. Any husband? One.
I ever noticed just how President Trump is just, he's real calm on how he talks. Dude is hilarious.
Any brothers? One. Any husband? One. She checks 2 people. So on top of everything else, she gets a double income tax cut. She's a stone cold crook, and everybody knows it. And the papers, they have one paper out in particular. The guy made a living writing about her, and I spoke to him. He said, but nobody does anything about it, sir. All you have to do is get his writings from the Indianapolis Star or whatever paper he works for. You don't even have to do anything. This guy spent 10 years investigating that crook. And you got to do something about it, or our people are going to get they're already upset. Takes too long. So, JD, you go do it. And Russell, you better do it.
There you go. And trust and believe. They going to make it happen. One thing about it says here, do you agree that Tim Walz should go to prison? Ilhan Omar should be deported? Or, you know, like the other lady said, should Tim Walz go to prison and Ilhan Omar go to prison and then deported to Africa? Y'all let me know in the comments. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love, everybody. Catch y'all next one.